I'm Dr. Russell Dawn, President of Concordia University Chicago. Thank you for tuning in to today's Cougar Athletics broadcast. We take great pride in the strength of both our athletic and academic programs, which are rooted in our steadfast commitment to Jesus Christ. Dedicated to the liberal arts as a foundation of a high-quality college degree, we believe education should form individuals for service to their neighbors. This makes Concordia Chicago an exciting and fulfilling place to study, work, learn, and grow. Learn more today by visiting cuchicago.edu. Thank you, and go Cougars!
Cougar fans, here on the Cougar Sports Network, bringing you this edition of Coaches Weekly. And this time, I'm joined by the head coach of CUC women's basketball, Coach Lauren Martin. Coach, welcome to the show. Excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, this is our first time, so it's like a brand new edition of this.
I know,
is really
right?
Exciting.
It's history in the making here.
It
Well, for you and your team, you've had kind of a quiet past week and a half. You haven't been in action since last Tuesday. So heading into a busy next week, you got 2 games coming up here at home. Just kind of tell me what this past week and a half has looked like for you guys. Without these games, have you kind of taken advantage of that time without, again, having to play a game since last Tuesday?
Exactly. We've put a lot of focus in on our offense, our defense, and just refining things, making some changes. And it'll be nice, obviously, to go and play on our home court tomorrow. But we needed the practice, we needed the time, and we've grown a lot from the last time we played.
Well, you mentioned playing at home. You guys have your home opener tomorrow night. University of Chicago coming to CUC. And, I mean, University of Chicago, they're a talented team. They play in a really nice conference. They've been good for the last couple seasons. So, you know, after struggling a little bit in your first 2 games, now you've had this time off since your last one. What do you want to see tomorrow on both ends of the court, like you said, that you guys have been working on against U of Chicago to, even if it might not be a win in the W column, but just say, hey, this is a good sign of improvement as we continue forward through this non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I think one thing is we're really aggressive on defense, but now learning how to be aggressive without fouling. So being right up in there. We've had a lot of fouls our first 2 games, and so really that's something we want to see go down, but we want the aggressiveness and the right kind of aggressiveness to continue to be a mainstay of who we are and kind of our identity. Offensively, just sharing the ball more is really something we've been talking about. So regardless of what another team does, that's something that we just need to get better at every time we go on the floor, and just scouting them and watching them play has helped us not only watch what they do, but also be ready to compete and battle to put our team in the best position to go get the win, not only our first one of the season, but at home will feel nice too.
Right. Well, let's talk about playing at home. It'll be your guys' home opener, as I already mentioned. You spent the first 2 games on the road. So, I mean, can you just kind of talk about, we know how much of a home advantage Geisman Gymnasium can be at times. So can you kind of talk about just the advantages of finally being able to come home, play in your home court again after 2, struggling games on the road, just what it means to come home to Geisman, have that home crowd behind you guys tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, the games on the road, there was still so much to learn from and so many good things that had happened. They were both pretty far trips, which I think will give us great experience going into our conference season, especially with our first game being just about the same amount distance. And just being a young team, you build that camaraderie, and we had some great memories that had happened too. So building on that and now playing at home in front of your parents, in front of your fans, also having a great concession stand run by us for our Italy trip, so all proceeds go to that. I think we can't wait for it. And we played far on the road for our scrimmage as well too.
Right.
And I think we hosted North Park feels like months ago.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's going to feel good just to be out there and be in that maroon and gold and take on the other team.
Definitely. Well, CUC women's basketball welcoming the University of Chicago to Geisman Gymnasium tomorrow night. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. Coverage can, of course, be found on our website, cucougars.com, and the live stream on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. Coach Martin, thanks for joining me today, and good luck tomorrow in the home opener. And, Troy Prattley will enjoy talking to you next time you guys meet. But until then, this is Peter Borkowski, sign off of the Cougar Sports Network, and wanting to say, as always, go Cougs!
What's going on, Cougar fans? Kayla McLeod here on the Cougar Sports Network, joined today by Troy Prattley as we get ready for another day of women's basketball here inside Geisman Gymnasium. Today, another non-conference matchup between the Concordia University of Chicago Cougars and the University of Hartford Hawks. Troy, what are we looking for today in these two teams?
Well, as you mentioned it, both teams still looking for their first win, coming into this contest 0-3. And for the Cougars, this is their last game before they start conference play. They're going to travel to St. Norbert on Saturday. So for the Cougars tonight, again, last time out they played University of Chicago, a really tough team, a successful team in the last decade or so, and they played them really well, took them to overtime. A game that I don't think a lot of people thought the Cougars were going to be able to hang in there on. But so going forward into today's game, it's got to be about the scoring. Okay, they've struggled to score all year long, only averaging 45 points a game. And for the Cougars, it's been the freshmen Sydney Nimsicon and also Michaela Ellis have really led the scoring for CUC. We're going to look tonight to see if somebody in the post can provide a presence. Okay, this Hartford team is a larger squad, going to be one of the bigger squads that CUC plays all year. It's going to be a big test for Allie McGregor, Abby Kulig, Grace King, whoever's down there this evening. They're going to have to play really well.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Michaela Ellis is someone that Coach Russo talked about in the last game against University of Chicago, talking about that leadership. But especially when you've got some players that need to play big in the paint, having that experience and that leadership and looking to your lone true senior on the team, Allie McGregor, to kind of build that is going to be a huge, huge key for that. Similarly, the Hawks are still looking for their first win as well. They're coming all the way from Connecticut to come play in Chicago. They've got 2 games here in Chicago, playing us tonight before heading over to the South Side. They're going to take on our conference opponent, Illinois Tech. So what do the Hawks need to see in tonight's game to kind of, first of all, get their first win of the season, but also pick up the first win on this 2-game Chicago trip for them?
Yeah, and it's going to be a similar thing. Both teams have really struggled to score early in the young season. I'm looking for the 3-point basket tonight for the Hawks. They're only shooting it at 17% in this early season, and so that's just not a mark that's going to be able to compete in the conference. And they played in a pretty tough conference in there, and obviously we'll get into their transition a little bit later on, but in order to sustain, a conference run, to be able to make that conference tournament, they're going to have to shoot the 3 ball better.
Absolutely. You mentioned it, the conference tournament for this Hartford team. This is going to be the first time that they're going to be eligible for the conference tournament this year. They transitioned from a Division I program to a Division III program, so they're still rebuilding. They've got a really young squad. They're built mostly of freshmen and sophomores, so using that and kind of being able to build and set the tone early for their first chance at a conference title is going to be a huge, big-time key for them here. But as we wind down here, we've got about 8 minutes till tip-off, so we're going to head things back up into the booth before we get ready. But Troy, one last question. What's the Cougs got to do to pull this off?
Yeah, tonight it's all going to be about the first quarter. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Neither team has been able to outscore any of their opponents in the first quarter. And in that first quarter, it's the lowest total scoring of all 4 quarters for both teams. So whoever gets the hot start tonight is going to have the upper hand as the game goes on.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, as the clock winds down and we have to get ready to get things going, we're going to send things back to production. But don't go anywhere. We've got about 7.5 minutes before tip-off here inside Geisman Gymnasium with these 2 teams looking to pull their first win. We'll be right back here on the Cougar Sports Network.
Welcome to Geisman Memorial Gymnasium in River Forest, Illinois for this non-conference women's basketball matchup between the visiting Hartford Hawks from West Hartford, Connecticut and your Concordia Chicago Cougars. Troy Prattley signing on tonight, joined by Kayla McLeod on the Cougar Sports Network. Kayla, we're in store for a good one here tonight. Both teams looking for their first victory of the young season. Real quick, as the tip happens, let's get the starting lineups here for the Hawks. Number 11, Kendall Riemann. Number 12, Mackenzie O'Hulan. Number 20, Lauren Sabia. Number 23, Emma O'Hare. And 44, Maddie McCannell for the Cougars. It's going to be that's Sydney Mitchell with the first basket of the game. Sydney Mitchell, number 55. Allison McGregor, 30. Grace King, number 11. Michaela Ellis, number 4. And Sydney Nimsakant, the freshman, the Cougars' leading scorer, number 2.
A really good way to start things off here for the Cougars, kind of scrambling the Hawks around in that their defensive set here. Obviously, Cougars striking first, a huge factor, something that we talked about in the pregame show, Troy. Being able to kind of set the tone early, so the Cougars being able to strike first, it's a really good sign.
As the Cougars are going to pick up their first foul, it's Sydney Mitchell who scored that first basket. It's going to be her first personal foul and first team foul. That'll reset the shot clock to 20. There was 3 seconds on it initially.
In addition to that, the Hawks were already playing off of their own offensive rebound, so this is like a pretty hefty defensive set for the Cougars to be in.
As that's O'Hare, she'll take it strong off the glass, and that'll tie us up at 2. It'll be Mitchell to bring it across half court. Grace King has it. Brings it to the top side. She's got Nimsakant there. Gregor sets the screen. She denies it. Ellis in the corner. As Ellis's pass is going to go high and wide of Allie McGregor, the first turnover of the evening as well. And for the Cougars, that was a struggle against University of Chicago last week. A lot of turnovers in that game and also a lot of fouls in that game as well. We saw both teams, U Chicago and Concordia Chicago, get into foul trouble in that first quarter. We'll see if that plays a factor here tonight.
I mean, turnovers are a huge factor for this Cougar squad, something that they've struggled with. Again, it's still early in the season, only 3 games played, but right now, averaging 24.7 turnovers a game, that's a really high number that costs to a lot of points given up.
As Ellis will take the jumper from the free throw line, she'll get the shooter's touch, and the Cougars will retake the lead. Here's O'Hare. She'll swing it up to O'Hulan. And Riemann over to Sabia. Sabia guarded by Nimsakant. And she'll take her to the basket, going up strong, and we're going to get a foul. And that's going to be on Sydney Nimsakant. So 2 shots here for Lauren Sabia. She is 5 for 9 from the stripe so far this season, 56%.
A really strong take from Sabia to the hoop there. I mean, you saw a little bit of a tuck in before going up to be able to kind of draw that foul in before kind of going up for it. A really athletic read there to be able to draw that foul.
And Sabia will get the first one to go. Here's the second. And it'll rattle around and fall as well. We are tied again at 4. So just 2 minutes into this one. Both teams, we talked about the first quarter being something that both teams really were looking to start strong in. They've struggled, both teams, in the first quarter so far this season. There's a good defense there, able to pry it away from King. Cougars will retain possession. It'll be King to inbound. And Nimsakant comes. She'll go to Mitchell. Mitchell's got the lane if she wants it. She'll stop Ellis. Ellis will take a dribble. The offense will set. Ellis in trouble. Swing it over to Sydney Nimsakant. She's got 6 on the clock. She'll go to work. McGregor, top of the key. 3-point basket is going to be no good. Kicked out to O'Hare. The rebound was Riemann. O'Hare, a good Chicago name. We'll see if she's got a good night here. Yeah, she's got it once again there on the top corner. Cannell, excuse me. And Sabia will try from long range, and she won't get hers to go either. So trading 3-point misses. And
seeing Ellis there kind of calming things down a little bit, something that Cougars obviously got frazzled a little bit on that defensive possession, lost sight of who they were guarding and kind of left some things open. So Ellis, that really strong leader to kind of slow things down here in their offensive set.
And the pick and roll from Mitchell to McGregor. The left-handed layup will be McGregor's first points of the night, and the Cougars are going to need to get her going early here tonight to be successful. As in now, that's Taryn Blevins for the Hawks, and she's got it once more in the corner. Sabia will take it near side, looking for O'Hare. O'Hare will cut. Here's McCannell. And she'll get Blevins. Blevins will pull up. And it's going to be tipped out to O'Hare, and she'll go back with it. And finally corralled by McGregor.
I think these offensive boards already are proving to be a really good thing for this Hawks team. The Cougars lacking a little bit in the paint on facing up against some of these taller matchups. So the Hawks really capitalizing and taking advantage of the fact that they're going to be able to grab some offensive boards. Unfortunately, just weren't able to capitalize on that one there.
As that was Nimsakant, her first try from deep. She leads this Cougars team and leads the conference, the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference, in three-point baskets made per game at 2.7, but can't get that one as there's going to be the first Hawk turnover going back the other way. And now we're going to get some mass substitutions here, 3 for the Hawks and 1 in for the Cougars. For the Cougars, it's going to be Kira Holiday. For the Hawks, it's number 0, Ella Marchesani. 15, Ava Nazamento. Re-entering is Ho Hulin. And also 14, Michaela Williams. Sorry, trying to figure out the last substitution there as Holiday's got it, guarded by Williams. She'll go to Nimsakant. And double screen here, King. Nimsakant will drive, but she'll lose it. As that's going to be ripped away by Nazamento. Just checked into the game, standing at 6'1". As here's Hohulin. Williams to the basket. And a foul there, this time on Cougars number 0, Missouri Wiggum. Also just entered at that last sequence, so that'll be Wiggum's first foul and the Cougars' third team foul here the first quarter, just about halfway. 5 minutes and 1 second into this first quarter. It's Cougars 6 and Hawks 4 as Michaela Ellis will re-enter the game for Sydney Nimsakant.
Going back to that defensive set for the Hawks, Nazamento had a really huge strip away there. She's leading this team in blocks and almost didn't even give Nimsakant the opportunity to get that shot up for a block. She was on her from the start, so a really, really good defensive set there from the Hawks.
Marchesani loses that one out of bounds, but it's going to be off of Missouri Wiggum, so the Hawks will retain the possession. And they'll have a baseline out of bounds opportunity. Kira Holiday stands in the paint to protect the basket. Blevins across near side. It'll go to the opposite post, Marchesani. That was a travel. And it's going to be called. That's Mackenzie Hohulin.
It was a good look to kind of curl off of that unintentional screen, I believe, and look for that shot, but unfortunately a little bit too much of a twirl instead of a curl off of that screen ultimately resulted in that turnover there.
One too many steps, and the Hawks are on a little bit of a scoring drought. 3 minutes now, and those points came off of 2 free throws, so it's been even longer than that since they've been able to pick up a field goal. McGregor's got it now. Grace King in the corner. King will fire from deep, and she'll miss everything. But it's going to be a foul on the shot. And Grace King will have 3 free throws here. The foul is on Ella Marchesani, a sophomore from Saddlebrook, New Jersey.
You know, that's something that you take a look at, and the contact wasn't necessarily on the actual shot, but instead encroached on her landing space. So King, unfortunately unable to land safely, is what's going to draw that foul call in and give her this opportunity to take these 3 free throws here and really kind of steal some momentum.
And she'll have an opportunity to boost her free throw percentage. She was 1 for 4 coming into this game. She is able to make the first 2. She'll have one more. And the third free throw up and good. So King capitalizes on the Hawks' error. She's able to down all 3 free throws. It's Riemann re-entering.
Those free throws also broke a little bit of a Cougar scoring drought, having a little bit of hard time scoring in about 2 minutes or so, as Kira Holiday with a very athletic interception there. See if she needs to join the football team there, Troy.
Cougars pressed out of that made free throw and worked out in their favor. Got the turnover. Another pick and roll is McGregor again as she's fouled going up. The dish from Missouri Wiggum. Good bounce pass, and McGregor's able to go up, and she'll get 2 free throws here as well. And we're going to get a timeout, a 30-second timeout here by Hartford.
Head coach of the Hawks, Polly Thomason, only entering her 3rd season here for Hartford, but a highly decorated head coach. Previously was the head coach at University of Texas Dallas, was there for 17 seasons. So a really, really decorated coach, an overall record of 327 and 126 while there. So a really talented coach that is working to rebuild a program here. As I mentioned during the pregame show, Hartford transitioning from Division I to Division III. So ultimately with that comes a bigger rebuild. So having a talented coach such as Coach Thomason is a huge key in that.
As the players will retake the court after the timeout. It was the first timeout used by either team. It's Allie McGregor. She'll have 2 shots here from the foul line. And she'll put the first one in. So the Cougars so far 4 for 4 from the stripe, and now a perfect 5 for 5. The Cougars will stay in the press as well out of those made free throws.
Free throws is something that head coach for the Cougars, Lauren Martin, really, really big on. Strives to push her team to be shooting at least 80% from the free throw line.
As that's Marchesani hitting the 3 from the corner. It's their first field goal in over 4 minutes. So Marchesani able to get it done from the corner as King goes strong but can't get it to go. High off the glass. A fast break the other way. It's O'Hare. She'll pull up. That's Williams. Marchesani will try again, and she'll get it again. Back-to-back triples for Ella Marchesani, as that'll force Cougars head coach Lauren Martin to take her first timeout. And just like that, the Hawks climb back into the game on the back of Ella Marchesani.
I mean, if you want to get your team fired up, I think back-to-back triples is absolutely the way to go. Marchesani, those points are huge, and so far this season, not shooting from the three-point line very well. So being able to kind of pick it up, I mean, shooting 2 for 11 so far on the season from the 3, and automatically you double that. You're now shooting 4 for 14. 4 for 13, excuse me. So that's a huge, huge competitive factor to have on your side right now.
$11-10 in favor of the Cougars. 3:25 here remaining in the first quarter. It's Sydney Minchell re-entering the game. She'll bring it up for the Cougars. She's got Holiday. Holiday will reject the screen of McGregor, and that one will just dribble right out of bounds. Miscommunication there. King was coming near side, and Mitchell was headed to the corner, just kind of floated in between them as Nimsicant will come back in for King. So Williams will take it for the Hawks, guarded by Holiday. Holiday, a good defender for CUC. And that's Riemann now. O'Hare. O'Hare strong left side, guarded by Ellis. As she'll get that one to roll around strong off the glass, and the Hawks take their first lead of the contest.
Cougars in this situation need to settle things down a little bit. Obviously, momentum is on Hartford's side, so being able to calm things down and regain control of the game is going to be a key in this possession right here.
No field goals for CUC in the last 4 minutes of play. As Mitchell will take it strong. She'll go high off the glass as well, but can't get it to go off the rim. As O'Hare will find Marchesani as she'll get blocked by Sydney Nimsicant. Hawks looking for a foul but won't get it as there's Williams. And Williams will be fouled as she goes up by Michaela Ellis. She's shaken off the potential injury there. On the foul, she'll get 2 shots.
Really, really good defensive effort there from Nimsicant. Looked like she might have maybe caught the extended leg of Marchesani on the way down. It looked a little bit like Marchesani had an awkward landing coming down anyway and had an off-balance foot kind of outside of her zone, and that might have been what Nimsicant clipped there, but ultimately a really, really hard landing for her, especially when she's shooting hot right now, not something that you want to see.
Williams unable to get the first free throw to go, and the second she'll miss that one as well. Holiday will rebound for the Cougars. Abby Kulig in for CUC the first time tonight, number 31. She's a sophomore from Carroll Stream, Illinois. Michaela Ellis goes up. She's blocked. As a fast break the other way is Lauren Sabia, but that's O'Hare firing from deep. O'Hare will get it.
I mean, that was just that's just an athletic play right there. A pump fake, a one dribble sidestep, and being able to drain the three to kind of go with it is the ultimate dagger in the heart there.
Nimsicant will fire from long range as she'll be fouled again. So not something you see every day. 2 fouls on 3-point shots for the Hawks, and that's going to result in 6 Cougar free throws. The first 3 were made by King, as Sydney Nimsicant will take the second set of 3 here. That was another thing we talked about early in the game, Kayla, or in the pregame show, excuse me, was the 3-point percentage for the Hawks. They were shooting at 17% coming into the game. They're 3 of 5 so far tonight from long range, so 60%, certainly well above their 17 mark. As that one rolls out. So one more shot for the freshman, the Cougars' leading scorer. And she came into this contest averaging 12.7 points per game, as she'll get that third free throw to fall as well for her first point of the night. It'll get her in the scoring column. Williams will take it up for the Hawks. That's McCannell.
Circling back to the 3-point percentage there, Troy, you know, interesting to note, obviously, we talked about the Hawks not shooting very well from the 3-point, but they haven't taken many threes in general. Only 10 attempts across, or excuse me, only 10 made across the last 3 games. It's a low number, so being able to consistently shoot, and now that they've found a rhythm and a groove with it, is something that we can probably expect to see continue throughout this match.
Turnover will give it back to the Cougars, heading right to left on your screen. Mitchell guarded by Williams. And Mitchell, a little ISO ball, goes off somebody's foot. Williams' foot, so CUC will keep it.
Williams leading this Hawks team in steals so far this season with 5, so a very aggressive defender trying to pick the pocket there of Sydney Mitchell. Doing a pretty good job of being completely up in her face and forcing her to kind of be a little bit messy with her dribble there. Jump
shot from Nimsicant. No good. O'Hare will take it. She's got 40 on the game clock. Hohulin fires long range, and that doesn't hit anything. So the Cougars now can hold for almost last possession, 3 seconds if they keep it. For the duration of the shot clock, it'll go to Nimsicant in the corner. She'll fire it right away, and that's going to get stuck. We'll get a jump ball here. It's going to be possession in favor of Hartford. And they're going to have to use the mop to get the ball unlodged, or dislodged, rather. Unlodged, not a word.
I don't quite think so. I think dislodged is exactly what you're looking for.
So with 18.3 seconds remaining in the first quarter, the Hawks will have a chance to score last, as in for the Hawks is number 2, Sydney Bowden from Canton, Ohio. So O'Hare will lead the charge for the Hawks. 10 seconds to go. And got it at the top of the key. Sabia will fire long range. And no good, as that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter. Hartford up by 2 early. We're going to head down to the sideline. We get a sideline report from Van Gato.
For CUC, Sydney Mitchell, 55. Michaela Ellis, 4. Allison McGregor, number 30. Grace King, 11. And Sydney Nimsicott. For the Cougars, really what they need to do is consistently be on offense. They have made most of their shots. Sydney Mitchell, Michaela Ellis, Allison McGregor. Grace King has been 100% on the free throw line. Compared to Hartford, Kendall Riemann, number 11. Mackenzie Hallman, number 12. Lauren Shabby, number 20. Emma O'Hare, number 23. And 44, Michaela Canal. And another standout, number 0, Ella Marchisan, who's had two made three-pointers for a total of 6 points, who came into the game and really made an impact. On the rebound side, the Cougars need to just increase their defensive options.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
Thank you, Van. As we get set for the second quarter, CUC will take possession first out of the break. It is the same 5 for both teams. This Cougars looking to get something going here out of the break. As King will go, Kulig out. The jumper from Kulig is no good. O'Hare will bring it back the other way. And Sabia guarded by McGregor. Here's, in the post there, 15, unable to get it. Gets her own rebound a second time, but she'll be fouled on the second rebound attempt. Unable to get either to go was Ava Nazamento, but she'll be fouled, called it on the floor by McGregor on the rebound, the second rebound. So shot clock will be reset to 20 seconds. As another baseline out of bounds opportunity for Hartford. They've had a few of them early in the contest, as Bowden will take it. That's O'Hare now guarded by Mitchell inside of the post to Nazamento, and too far. Another turnover for the Hawks.
A little bit of a size matchup to keep an eye on here for the Cougars. Number 31, Abby Kulig, matching up against number 2, Sydney Bowden for the Hawks. A little bit of a battle. Got some height. Bowden has some height advantage over Kulig, so Kulig trying her best to defend and ultimately forcing her outside the three-point line and freeing some space up inside.
As an and one from Allie McGregor, the feed from Sydney Mitchell. So the Cougars strike first in the second quarter, as Blevins will return, the sophomore from St. Louis, Missouri. McGregor will go back to the line for the Cougars. She is 2 for 3 from the stripe, as she will go 3 for 4 now. See if the Hawks can respond. Gonna want to get Marchesani another three-point look, as she'll have one there, but she'll go to dribble drive, and she'll go scoop, but can't get it. And the rebound by Nimsicott, but a jump ball. Good effort there by O'Hare to not give up on the play. And Hartford will keep possession. That gives the Hawks what feels like the 100th baseline out of bounds. As a travel there, so another turnover. That's the 6th turnover so far. Here we're not even to halftime yet.
Hartford also a team that's averaging a high amount of turnovers per game. So again, something that they're going to need to limit to be able to pull away here. But the Cougars doing a really good job of forcing those turnovers and capitalizing on that weakness there. Hartford averaging 25 turnovers per game.
And a lot of the turnovers so far have been on the pass, as Nimsicott will fire that from well beyond the three-point line, but she'll miss everything as well.
You know, talking about turnovers, one of the interesting things, despite both of these teams being pretty similar in their turnovers per game, if you look at the points off of turnovers per game, the Cougars averaging only 12 points off of turnovers, where the Hawks are capitalizing on it. They're scoring roughly 25 points off of turnovers per game. So being able to utilize the turnovers that you're forcing and actually score from it is going to be huge.
Yeah, as a foul there, that one's going to go on Abby Kulig. So that'll give Nascimento 2 opportunities from the line, and Sydney Nimsicott is 0 for 9 so far here to start. 0 for 5 to start, 0 for 4 from deep. And that's going to be a rough start for the freshman, the Cougars' leading scorer. They're doing a nice job of hanging in the game with the Hawks so far, despite the fact that their leading scorer is outside of free throws being held silent.
I think one of the interesting things to note, though, is that she's continuing to shoot. So obviously Hartford has done their homework. They scouted. They knew that Nimsicott was going to be someone that they needed to shut down. But one of the big impacts is the fact that she's going to continue shooting, and she's going to continue to take those, because at the end of the day, shooters shoot. And, you know, it's easy to go on a run once you start getting hot. So being able to keep that confidence up and keep pushing the ball through your leading scorer is going to be a key for this Cougar squad.
As O'Hare blocks Mitchell's attempt there, the fast break will lead the other way. Nascimento, touches everything but the bottom of the net. And Kira Holliday will bring it back for CUC. We are tied at 16 with 7:43 to go in the second quarter. Holliday's got it. Some Cougar subs wait on for the next dead ball. McGregor will give it to Mitchell. Mitchell is going to dribble back to McGregor. McGregor's going to take Nascimento down. Saved by King. Unable to be saved by King. It was a high pass from McGregor that sent King flying out of bounds. Looked initially as if she got 2 hands on it, but unable to get the pass away. The Cougar substitutions. It's Wiggum re-entering. But for the first time tonight, Courtney Schneider enters for the Cougars. Ellis re-enters as well. And
all tied up here in the second quarter, Troy. Something, again, that we talked about in the pregame show was both teams struggled a bit in the first quarter historically in their last 3 matchups. So seeing that this game is so close now and that both teams haven't really fallen behind in too big of a deficit, it's something that you can see the effort and you can see the grind and the drive in both of these teams, knowing that, hey, that we're in a different spot than we've been in all season. This feels different.
A pretty evenly matched game so far, I would say, as Maddie McCannell finds the bottom of the net from the near side block. Holliday will bring it up to Wiggum. McGregor sets the screen. We've seen that same action a lot. The pick and roll worked early for CUC. That more of a pick and pop, as Schneider now will take from the foot on the line, a deep 2 for Courtney Schneider, so she'll get in the scoring column here shortly after arriving to the game.
Yeah, another step back there for Schneider. That would have been a huge 3 to have. Schneider still chasing her first 3-pointer of her collegiate career, so one step back and that would have been a game changer there.
A good defense by Holliday, and Wiggum leads to a Michaela Ellis turnover. As Ellis has it now at the top of the key. She'll go to work. She'll fire from deep, and she'll get it to go. How about that? Michaela Ellis, between the legs, step back, put it home.
Michaela Ellis is one of the players that the Cougars look to run a lot of their plays through, but when you can get her to be able to shoot off of the dribble, that's where she's from her highest percentage. Being able to take a 1-dribble pull-up, she's going to knock that down every single time.
As knocking it down was Mackenzie Hohulin, the freshman guard from Plymouth, Massachusetts, as she answers Ellis's 3 right back. We're tied at 21. As Ellis will go again, that time a little short. Hohulin rebounds, and she'll bring it up for the Hawks. See if they push the tempo here. Nope, she'll pull it out. It's Williams. Down to McCannell. McCannell guarded by McGregor. And a loose ball inside, picked up by Schneider. And the fast pace will continue. Holiday, as she'll slow it down, and Michaela Ellis will take it.
Hawks really taking advantage of their size difference inside in the paint. You saw it on their offensive possession, and even here, chasing after that rebound, you know, Kira Holiday was the only person collapsing in for the Cougars, but inside that paint, there was 2 6-foot bodies there, you know, using their size advantage to help them kind of win these possessions.
We're entering for the Hawks, Kendall Riemann. And Riemann's a sophomore from Resurrection High School here in Chicago, Illinois. She's got a pretty large fan section over there, I'd say. She accounts for roughly a third of the total attendance here tonight are the fans here from Resurrection High School.
Well, you know, when you go to school out of town, out of state per se, being able to come back and play in your hometown near your high school, it's a really, really special feeling. Being able to kind of, you know, see that, put on that performance, because otherwise I can't say that Resurrection High School would most likely be taking a trip to Connecticut to see her play. So this has to be a really, really special moment, not only for Kendall Riemann, but also for the Resurrection girls basketball team.
Yeah, you know, Kayla, in 4 years of playing ball here at CUC, I only played one game back home in Michigan, except it was in the UP, so nowhere near where I live in Southwest Michigan in St. Joe. Actually, when my parents went to that game, they, instead of driving from where we live in Michigan to the game in Michigan, it was actually faster to drive through Indiana to Illinois to Wisconsin to get back to the Upper Peninsula in northern Michigan. So they traveled through 4 states to get back to the state they started in.
Wow. That's just the beauty of Michigan, though. You can be driving forever and still be in Michigan.
As Nimsicott will stay over from the floor, as McCannell's got it inside. She'll go strong on Ellis, asking for the push-off, but won't get it, as the Hawks will take the lead once more, 23-21. We are under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. The Cougars been on the scoring drought of late. For their last 4 over the last 2.5 minutes or so. As McGregor's got another pick and roll opportunity. She'll pivot, she'll go up. Yeah, touched everything again, but the bottom of the net, as that'll rattle out.
You know, in the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference, the Cougars don't see many people that are too much bigger than Allison McGregor in the paint. Or if they do, there's maybe one person that she's playing against. With Hartford having a couple 6-footers on their team, that's something that Allison McGregor is trying to battle through. But being able to be crafty like that and finding her shot in a little turnaround jumper is something that she hasn't necessarily had to do most of the time in her career here, but is being able to adapt and find ways to get that shot off it's going to be huge, and it already has been, and it'll continue to fall as needed.
As Lehman's pass will go out to Lauren Sabia, who knocks it home from deep, as Coach Lauren Martin will take her second timeout of the half. A 5-0 run from the Hawks as they take a 5-point lead here. 2:43 remaining in this first quarter. And Kayla, for the folks at home who, Cougar fans may be unfamiliar with Hartford, University of Hartford, the Hawks from West Hartford, Connecticut. So 4,200 undergraduate students, Kayla. That's almost 3 times the size of the undergraduate enrollment here at CUC.
Oh, wow.
As well as the campus size as well. Do you know how many total acres here in River Forest that Concordia has, Kayla?
I want to say 40.
It's 20, half
20.
of that.
Oh, wow, okay.
20 total acres here. A quarter square mile is the campus in River Forest, just 10 miles west of Chicago. In West Hartford, Connecticut, 350 total acres is the campus of the Hawks. So pretty big size disparity in both the enrollment and the actual campus as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I couldn't imagine 350 acres here in River Forest. That'd be a pretty good-sized campus here, kind of tucked away.
I was thinking it might account for Oak Park, River Forest, Galewood, Maywood, Melrose, all of them. We might just have all of them.
Good defense there from the Hawks. Nascimento being able to kind of poke that one out of the hands.
As Sabia will feed it down to Nascimento, who's had a good effort since she's been on the floor. As that was Hohulin that missed the layup. Grace King will fire early. Rebounded by McGregor, will call it a pass. So Mitchell will reset. Didn't reset the shot clock. So Cougars still on the initial shot clock. Mitchell. Schneider will screen and roll. Mitchell will have to stop her dribble to go back to King. She'll take it. And they're going to get a foul. A foul on Sabia from Simsbury, Connecticut. Sabia, the leading scorer coming into today's contest for the Hawks. She's got 5 so far and her 8.3 average, so she's well on her way to reaching that average. As she'll check out now, Williams will come in for her. And as you can imagine, with the two schools being located where they are, pretty regional rosters. You know, for the Cougars, mostly Illinois, but you've got Indiana, Michigan, of course, close by. But the one far one is the freshman De La Rosa from Fresno, California. As Nimsicott will be fouled as she heads to the basket. So she'll get a couple more free throw opportunities, looking to add to her point total. Still 0 for 7 from the floor, 0 for 6 from deep. But for Hartford, similar situation, although they've got Blevins from St. Louis, Missouri, Bowden from Canton, Ohio, and then, of course, Kendall Riemann, as we mentioned, here from Illinois. And then they've got a couple further ones, though. They've got Cunningham from Siesta Key, Florida, and Okoro from Frisco, Texas, so maybe a little bit larger range of roster for the Hawks.
Still have some Midwest representation.
Tough call there for the Hawks. That was Ella Marchesani putting home another three-point basket, and the net is still hanging, because that was about as clean of a three-point shot that you will ever see. But she was called for a travel.
I mean, even though that basket doesn't necessarily count on the scoreboard, for Marchesani herself, being able to kind of keep that rhythm and stay hot, essentially, is going to be huge. I mean, what a way to keep firing. Like I said before, you know, things aren't going your way, got hit a little bit, didn't get the foul call, then you get the travel call, but still taking those shots and being aggressive with it is going to be a huge key for her.
So we'll get the other half of the makeup whistle there. So Marchesani called with the travel, and the foul there was on Anaya Hinton-Henry, who just had a birthday for CUC.
Yeah, I believe two days ago, potentially.
The freshman from Hammond Central in Indiana, as Emma O'Hare will put down those 2 free throws. So the Hawks retain their 5-point lead after those 2 shots. And O'Hare, that's a cool name for coming to Chicago.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. It probably amongst the team has to be a joke, because I can imagine if they flew into O'Hare from Connecticut that it would be a constant conversation.
As Ella Marchesani is having herself an evening, as she's going to get the basket and the free throw. It was a good dish there by Michaela Williams, as it's going to be McGregor's second foul, so Courtney Schneider will re-enter for McGregor.
You know, circling back, we were talking about Marchesani after that 3-ball was called back for a travel. So this is exactly what you want to see. You keep going, you find other ways to score. Didn't get the 3-ball to go the last time, so find your way in the paint and pick up the and one and secure those 3 points in any way you can.
So now the Hawks will come out in a bit of pressure here. The Cougars are going to have to break it, as Holiday and Mitchell are Playing back and forth. It's Lindley Southern who just entered the game in to corral that one. Mitchell will take the shot. I don't know what the whistle.
I think they're gonna get Nazamento on the foul in the paint against Courtney Schneider. They were kind of pushing back and forth. It looked like Nazamento might have had an arm bar kind of pushing a little bit too much. Some refs are a little bit more picky about it. Some will let some more contacts go, but typically a good rule of thumb is being able to kind of size up with your arm and then kind of back off. So looked like a little bit too much contact there for this official's liking.
Yeah, the group we had on Friday night was pretty whistle happy as well. As I mentioned earlier, both teams. Well, there we go. Right on cue, right? All you got to do is talk about it.
Exactly. Mitchell was not too happy about that call. You could see her kind of staring back at her bench for a second in a little bit of disbelief, but it might have been the right call there, Troy. A little bit of a lean there. It might have been the right call, an unfortunate one, but.
So the moving screen will send Mitchell to the bench. So 20 seconds here to go in the half. Last possession if they want it, but Lehman will go strong. And she will give the Hawks a 10-point lead with just about 10 seconds to go here in the first half. As Schneider will take a shot for CUC. It's off the mark. She'll get her own rebound. They're going to have to fire again. As Holiday deep, she nails it. Come on!
Wow, Kira Holiday.
Kira Holiday beats the buzzer for the Cougars and maybe grabs them some momentum heading into the half. Hartford a strong second quarter, extending their 2-point lead after the first quarter to a 7-point lead into the half. We'll have the second half action for you here on the Cougar Sports Network in about 15 minutes.
Concordia University Chicago is a Christ-centered Lutheran university where truth, freedom, and vocation form students for lives of influence and service for the common good. Our university offers a wide variety of undergraduate and graduate degree options that are available in person and online. That means we have a program designed for you. Whether you're a high school student, an adult returning to complete your degree, or someone looking to enhance your credentials and prepare for career growth. As a member of this university community, you'll also find support in your spiritual and personal life so you can grow in the faith and discover ways to serve others. To start your next journey with us, visit cuchicago.edu today.
CUC nursing student and choose to stand tall for healing at a university that places Christ at the center and embraces teaching students to live a life fulfilled by purpose and meaning. Concordia University Chicago's new Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree is an innovative and rigorous 4-year program that will prepare you to rise to the daily challenges of a rewarding nursing career and serve a greater cause. Our newly built modern simulation center features 4 distinct spaces, a skills attainment lab, multi-specialty intensive care spaces, a health assessment learning center, and a simulated home environment. Due to our close proximity to many world-class teaching hospitals, CUC's clinical rotations offer an abundance of diverse and real-world experiences. Learn more about earning your BSN at a Christ-centered university today.
I'm Monica here at Concordia University Chicago, and we're here outside of Concordia Hall. Concordia Hall is the university's newest residence hall, right on the edge of campus, perfect for students who want to explore the nearby downtown of Oak Park and River Forest. The flexible suite-style living in fully furnished bedrooms lets students choose what works best for them. Every floor is complete with a community lounge and full common kitchen, with a kitchenette, microwave, sink, and refrigerator. The first floor offers the Victory Lounge, connecting to 2 additional residence halls, with no shortage of ways to relax. You're also right next to an open, outdoor plaza, better known as Victory Lane. So now we're here in Concordia Hall's suite-style dorm room, and this is a really nice place to just hang out and chill. And since it's so big, there's plenty of room to spread out and do your homework and just relax. So now making our way into one of the bedrooms, there's plenty of space in this room for you and your roommate. A lot of times students will move the desks so that they've got their separate study space, but my roommate and I, we get along really well, so we can just work together here in the same space. Sometimes I like doing art as well, as you can see by the painting here. It's a 16 by 10 feet space, and most rooms on campus are 10 by 12 feet. So it's really nice to have a little extra space to work with here in Concordia Hall. So this hall is super close to the chapel and the Kennedy Community Center, which has the new Crossroads Dining Hall. So the location is super convenient. And I really love the city scene too. The location here is the closest on campus to the Oak Park River Forest downtown area, which has a ton of great stores and restaurants. Speaking of the city scene, I adore the view from this lounge because you can see the Chicago skyline right there. Concordia Hall at Concordia University Chicago.
Down through the ages, God has called and equipped people to make a real difference in the lives of others. To lead, to heal, to stand tall. For 160 years, Concordia University Chicago has been preparing the next generation of leaders with the wisdom, faith, and values to make an impact in the world, to share the gifts God gave them and answer the call to a life fulfilled by purpose and truth, to be living examples of what it means to live with Christ at the center as we serve others. Because at CUC, we don't run away from adversity, we go towards it. We don't shrink from our faith, we lead with it. We are teachers, caregivers, and musicians, scientists, pastors, and business leaders, unshakable pillars of strength and integrity who serve a cause greater than ourselves. And the world needs us now more than ever. Learn how a degree from Concordia University Chicago can help you be the pillar the world needs to stand for something greater. The only question is, are you ready to stand tall?
on the Cougar Sports Network to Geisman Memorial Gymnasium. Troy Prattley joined by Kayla McLeod here for the second half action between the University of Hartford Hawks and the Cougars of Concordia Chicago. It was Hartford finishing the second quarter strong, taking the lead up to 10 before Kira Holiday was able to put in the 3 at the buzzer to send the Cougars into the locker room with something to hang their hat on, because that second quarter was a little rough one for the Cougars. They've really struggled so far, in the game to score outside of free throws. So,
travel call.
Foul change to travel call.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the breakdown of the box score from the first and the second quarter, the Cougars shooting 3 for 11 from the field in the first quarter, but 7 for 8 from the free throw line. Go to the second quarter, they're shooting 4 for 17, but only 3 for 3 from the field goal or from the free throw line. So, struggling to get some shots to fall, but didn't get to the line nearly as much in the second quarter, and that's where we're seeing this deficit come in.
Yeah, I mean, 10 free throws made of their 26 points, which means only 16 points left over of field goals, and you're going to need more than 16 points off field goals to kind of pull away a victory and get their first one of the evening, as the first basket of the second half goes in favor of the Hawks. Grace King's got it at the top. She'll swing it over to Nimsicott, and she'll take that shot and get her first shot to go.
Nimsicott pulling that 3, a really, really huge confidence booster. I mentioned it earlier that she's someone that she's leading in points per game for the Cougar squad, struggling to get something to fall so far today. The Hawks have been doing a really good job of shutting her down. So her being able to break through that early here in the second half is going to be a key.
As Mitchell gets the steal in the fast break, and she'll lay that one in easily. So a 5-0 run here quickly in the last 40 seconds or so for CUC. Gets them right back in this game now, trailing by 4 with 8.5 to go in the third quarter. You mentioned it, Sydney Nimsicott, 7 points tonight, 4 of which came off free throws. So her first field goal here of the night, that was a big one, as she'll be charged. No, excuse me. It's going to be another traveling violation. So both teams trading traveling violations here early in the third quarter, as we're going to get a couple substitutions early on as well. And Kayla, I got to tell you, I'm a little surprised that the Hawks have now played 7, and we haven't seen Ella Marchesani yet. And she was a player that provided a good spark for the Hawks. She was able to bury 2, made the third, got called off, and then an and one. So she's got 9 points here as well. So, and she remains on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, she's someone that was able to come in for the Hawks and really just be a little bit of a fire kind of underneath them. So, I think if you're sitting here and Hawks still holding this 4-point lead over the Cougars and utilizing the fact that they still have some momentum here and they can kind of hold on to that, as we see here with Levins, with this fast break layup, they're able to kind of keep that momentum. So really, I guess, saving Marchesani for that spark that you need when you need it, as they continue to be able to kind of work through things here.
O'Hare and Marchesani both with 9 for the Hawks, as Nimsicott misses that one a little bit long. So the Hawks now take possession up 6, as CUC is playing some really inspired defense so far out of the halftime, as it's going to go in favor of the Cougars. Look like maybe out of bounds.
I do believe so. Little confusion here. Thought it was going down to the Cougars, but it's actually going to stay with the Hawks here. Saw 2 different things from 2 different officials, but Hawks with the possession here. 15 on the shot clock.
Blevins guarded by Mitchell, and Grace King gets the steal. She'll kick it up to Holiday, who will pull it out. A wise decision there. Nothing going for CUC on the fast break. So 23 in white will take it. Blevins guards her. Holiday strong to the rim. And off the glass, off the rim. She'll get her own rebound, kicks it out to Mitchell. Mitchell will take it in, swings out to King. King will fire from deep. And off the mark as well. Right, last touch by Mitchell.
That's a really good possession there for the Cougars. Obviously, any possession where you can score is a good possession, but just some promising things, seeing that ball movement, some of that in and out action, and being able to kind of kick things, draw the defenders in and kick things out and find an open look at the top of the key. That's exactly what you want to be doing. And, those shots from there, they're going to fall, but being able to kind of make the defense collapse in is exactly what they're looking for.
As Williams will break through the defense, and an easy left-hander for Williams.
That's a great read from Williams, noticing that the Cougars were playing 5 out and there was nobody sinking help side defense. So being able to penetrate that one-on-one ISO is going to free up that space in the lane, and that's exactly what happened. And Cougars got caught lacking on defense a little bit.
Nobody for the second line of defense. As here's Mitchell, she'll take it and fire a tough one. It was kind of half floater, half jumper. Went strong off the back of the rim. As Holiday providing good defense again for CUC. As it'll go off of Holiday. Missouri Wiggum in for the Cougars.
Kira Holiday frazzling Sabia a little bit there. I mean, being able to kind of play some tight defense, pick the pocket a little bit, kind of get that ball out of bounds. But in addition, just kind of sped Sabia up a little bit. I think, she wanted some contact, maybe get that foul call. But at the end of the day, I think she might have just kind of tripped over herself because of that pressure.
Another steal by the freshman as she'll take it and rolls all the way around. So King unable to finish the block jumper after the steal, but her second steal of the third quarter. As that's Hohulen. She misses. Mitchell will take it on the fast break. She's got King ahead. She'll take it herself up, and King a rebound. After the shot goes long, Wiggum will fire from deep, and off the front rim, corralled by McCannell. Oh, loose ball. Williams will take it. Kick it out to Marchesani, and in and out there for Ella Marchesani from the corner.
Circling things back to that missed layup there from King off of that turnover. That's that point that we were talking about earlier. The Cougars really struggling to score points off of turnovers, doing a good job of forcing them and getting those steals, but only averaging 12 points off of turnovers, not something that you're going to see much success in.
As McGregor's blocked by McCannell there, but she'll be called for a foul. The body contact, the block itself was clean, but McCannell will be called for a push there, so that'll send McGregor to the line, and Allie McGregor is 3 for 3 free throws so far here tonight, and she'll now move to 4 for 4, and both of these teams really on their way to meeting or breaking their season average in points per game. Kind of a funny stat as McGregor puts in her second of second free throws, and both teams averaging exactly 45.7 points per game equally. So kind of a fun statistic there. You probably won't see that very often as both teams play more games, but 45.7 for both squads through 3 games.
Yeah, it is an interesting stat to kind of point out there. Most notably, the Cougars have had 1 game so far this season in overtime. So collectively, 137 points the Cougars have scored across 4 quarters plus overtime. The Hawks have totaled 137 points in just 4 quarters. But, there's a couple other similarities, talking about rebounding. Both the Cougars and the Hawks averaging 12.7 offensive rebounds per game. But aside from that, the other opponents that the Hawks have been playing have been averaging the exact same amount of offensive rebounds, whereas the Cougars have given up more offensive rebounds per game than the Hawks have. So some similarities in these two teams' style of play, as we've seen so far today. I mean, these have been very, very compatible teams, a lot of the same strengths, a lot of the same weaknesses, and that's why we're seeing such a hard-battled game here.
As Marchesani will give it to O'Hare, the 2 games leading scorers. So Kira Holiday kicks that one out of bounds. It'll reset the shot clock to 20 after the kickball violation. So Bowden will inbound, guarded by Kulig. As the pass will go long to O'Hare, and the contact there is provided by Courtney Schneider. Good effort play, just unable to kind of keep control there. And so she'll be charged with a push there. So Bowdoin will inbound once again.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that it's unfortunate to see. It was definitely a hard hit there from Schneider, but at the end of the day, those are those hustle plays that you were just talking about. You got to be chasing after loose balls like that, getting after it, trying to get on the ground after it. And we're seeing Schneider battle really, really intensely in the paint with Nascimento. So those are the things that are promising to see out of a freshman.
As Wiggum is able to strip Nascimento from going up strong. So Wiggum will take it now, trying to get the dribble, and she'll just toss it over to Sydney Mitchell. And both teams really struggling to score here of late for CUC. It's been about 4 minutes without a field goal as they'll turn that one over. The pass from Kulig to Mitchell goes wide and into the CUC bench. An almost 3-minute stretch for the Hawks without scoring as well. Yes. O'Hare will cross the center line, guarded by Sydney Mitchell. Kira Holiday on Hohulin.
You know, talking about these scoring droughts for both teams right now, I think that says something about the style of defense that both teams are playing. You know, a lot of people talk about offense within games, but defense has to be on lockdown. And that was a really, really good offensive possession there for the Hawks. That was a great look from the three-point line. But at the end of the day, the Cougars being able to bounce around and compete defensively, I think that says a lot about both styles of play here.
Yeah, the defensive intensity has definitely been stronger here in the second half. As 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Mitchell, the crossover, loses it a little bit, but gets it back and puts up the shot off the glass. No good. O'Hare will bring it back right to left on the screen. She'll wait for the rest of her offense. As Bowdoin has it up top. O'Hulin cuts. And it's going to be a foul charged to Kulig.
I think the officials are going to confer about it a little bit. It initially looked like they were going to call a jump ball, but then as Bowdoin kind of turned with it, it ended up causing Kulig to kind of wrap around her, which I think is where they got that foul call from. It was a really good battle, and I think had Bowdoin not necessarily turned, that would have stayed a jump ball.
So a couple substitutions by each team here. Just under 3 minutes to go. Bowdoin will inbound to Sabia. He's being pressured, and McGregor picks her off. Heading back the other way. She'll go up on the pivot, and Allie McGregor, fast break. She'll take it herself. And CUC within 4 now.
Not something you see too often out of McGregor, being able to get the steal and make the run up the court and take it. Once she gets that kind of one-on-one in the paint, she's really crafty with her footwork, as you saw there, being able to kind of stop and then pivot to be able to find that space. But the whole transition up the court, not something you typically see out of her.
As Sabia takes it strong. She was pressured there, but no foul, as that's up to Nimsicant. She thought about it, but didn't end up shooting, as Courtney Schneider's trying to work in the post, as Nimsicant will just take it and be fouled on her way up. A hard landing there on the floor.
You know, as we were talking before with lockdown defense, that comes a lot of contact and a lot of pressure. So as we're seeing bodies consistently hitting the floor, that's kind of a reaction to that tough defense. We're seeing both teams battle. We're seeing both players from Hartford and players from Concordia on the floor after things getting kind of pushed around a little bit. But that comes with a highly defensive style of play.
So Nimsicant will have 2 opportunities from the charity stripe, as she is 4 for 5 now from the line. As she will put down both, as the Hawks' lead is trimmed down to just 2 now.
Obviously, the Cougars being able to go on a 6-0 run in the last 2 minutes or so, but on top of that, we're seeing the Hawks hit a drought as they're going to hit Bowden with a moving screen there and another turnover. I think that's going to be 5 turnovers for the Hawks in the last 6 minutes or so. So that's contributing to this offensive burst here from the Cougars, and they're looking to capitalize on it.
Yeah, Hawks haven't scored in over 5 minutes now. They get a steal there by Williams. The pass was trying to go to McGregor, but the Hawks will take it instead as Blevins got it now topside inside. McGregor knocks it away but can't keep it in for CUC. So now Williams will take charge on the out of bounds as Blevin gets it up top there to Bowden, across to Williams. As Williams is charged with a travel there. It was almost a Euro jump stop, step through combination. Unfortunately going back the other way for the Hawks. As Kira Holiday will bring it forward for the Cougars as they trail by 2 with a minute to go here in the third quarter. Wiggum will take it strong with her right hand off the glass. And no good. Corralled by Lehman. And Blevins. Yeah, she'll pull up and take the jumper herself. McGregor with the rebound. Kira Holiday being doubled. The foul is going to be on Lehman. Kendall Riemann.
Cougars, again, as we talked about, only trailing by 2 here, gone on a 6-0 run right now while holding the Hawks scoreless for the majority of this quarter, realistically. The majority of this quarter, the Hawks have been held scoreless, and that's something that the Cougars have been able to capitalize on, similar to how the Cougars historically in the last 3 games have struggled to come out hot in the first quarter. They've struggled to come out hot in the third quarter as well. Coming fresh off of the halftime, in their last 3 matchups, they've underperformed in comparison to the other quarters. So being able to see the Cougars come out here in this third quarter and perform big time is super promising.
Yeah, and on the flip side for the Hawks, the third quarter has been generous to them. That's when they've scored their highest totals, but so far here tonight, only 6 points for them in the third quarter. They're averaging 22 points in the third quarter. No, excuse me. Not 22 points. They've played 3 games, Kayla, not 2. So Williams will take it now with 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. The shot clock is off as it's tipped away by Schneider. Up top is McCannell. As O'Hara will take it, she'll kick it out to Sabia and rebounded. Nimsakant will go from half court and it won't get there. So the Cougars able to kind of climb back into the game here in the third quarter as they outscored the Hawks by 5. We're going to head down to the sideline once more to get a report from Van Gato.
Coming into this half, the Cougars were really below on shots besides free throws where they were hovering around 90%. Really coming into this game, the Cougars really need to establish a strong defense. And through this half, they saw less of that. But coming into this first quarter, this third quarter, really 4 steals, 4 breakaways to get points, put shots on the board. We're seeing a lot of points in the paint from McGregor and Nimsakot from the 3-point range and just in general drawing points to get those free throw shots. The Cougars are really excelling at the free throw line. But Hartford has really been at that 40% range for all their shots all game and has had a strong defense and is leading the game in free throws and rebounds. They just need to be more consistent, the Cougars, to win this game.
Thank you, Van. The Cougars down by 2 heading into the final frame of tonight's contest. The Hawks are going to stay in Chicago tonight and head down to the south side and play Illinois Tech tomorrow. Illinois Tech, a member of the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference, alongside the Cougars, as O'Hare's shot there hits the wire on top of the basket. So that'll be a dead ball and head in favor of the home team wearing white.
Under 10 minutes here, and this is going to be a huge quarter. We've seen these teams go back and forth so much so far this game, and at the end of the day, it comes down to this. And things like that, the turnovers are going to come. They're going to play a factor here as to who can pull away this in the end.
Yeah, just an extra hop there by Courtney Schneider as she received the pass. So a turnover out of the gate for CUC, not what they were looking for on their first possession. They'll go back on the defensive end. They'll get a steal right away. It's going to be Holiday. She'll go ahead to Sydney Nimsicon, who will be fouled going up. It looked almost like she was falling before the foul.
Yeah, I think Nimsicot got a little bit lucky there. There definitely was that contact on the way down, but I think you're right. I think she was already in the motion of kind of losing control there when the contact occurred. So I think it was a close call, but ultimately puts Nimsicot at the line here.
And really at the line is where she's been the strongest tonight, as she's now 7 for 8 from there, and 7 of her 10 points are from the line. She just has that one three-pointer that was made in the late second or early third. I can't quite remember, Kayla, but Ella Marchesani brings it up for the Hawks. A pass, but can't be corralled by O'Hare. So
Cougars excited to force that timeout. Again, we're talking about it a lot. We're saying it a lot, but these turnovers, this is going to be what that big kind of game-changing moment is going to be. We're seeing both teams unnecessarily turn the ball over. We're seeing just miscommunication on the floor that's resulting in it. And even though those aren't directly translating into points, it's translating into momentum, because now the Cougars have a tie game here, momentum on their side from forcing another turnover and now getting the timeout. It's showing that Hartford's frazzled. The Cougars have the Hawks exactly where they want them.
Yeah, 17 points off of turnovers for CUC, and that's really, with a tie game, the reason that they're hanging around.
Absolutely.
Like you were just mentioning. So CUC is going to take the possession now after the Hawks turn it over 2 times in their first 3 possessions out of the quarter break. And be Kira Holiday. And Holiday, a freshman on this CUC roster. She came into this game only averaging 16 minutes, but she's played a lot, and she's played a lot of good defensive minutes for CUC as well. She's the one with the hands in the passing lane, providing pressure and leading a couple of these fast breaks, as McGregor will take a shot at it from the 3-point line.
Absolutely. I mean, we haven't seen Michaela Ellis for this Cougar squad in quite some time. But I think on that same note has been the fact that Kira Holiday has been making up for that on the defensive end. Michaela Ellis, a good point scorer for the Cougars, but right now they don't necessarily need to be scoring points. They need to be getting these stops on defense, which is what they're doing. So having someone like Kira Holiday to do exactly that, get her hands in the passing lane, make those pickoffs, that's what you need right now, because she's also translating it over onto the offensive side. She's making those passes. She's finding her way in. Granted, she's only got 3 points herself on the day. She's doing these things to kind of help get things moving. So despite the freshman not being, I should say, on the court a lot in the first couple games, you're seeing her impact here early.
A good assist there from Marchesani to McCannell. The Hawks able to take a 2-point lead. That was their best possession, certainly, of the fourth quarter, but in a long time they were. Sydney Nimsicant strong with her left hand there, ties the game back. But before that basket, it had been basically 7 minutes of gameplay without the Hawks scoring. So that possession, as they kind of do the same thing again, this time O'Hare to McCannell, but feeding the post, some hands on it as Holiday will take care of the turnover. as she'll drive, kick it out to McGregor. Nimsakant. She'll go off the back of the iron.
Again, focusing on defense a little bit. In that last possession, the Cougars collapsed in on McCannell and, ultimately forced a turnover there, being able to recognize the size difference that the Cougars aren't as built inside the paint as the Hawks are, but utilizing that help side defense to collapse in and frazzle McCannell inside the paint, forcing these turnovers. Cougars just need to start converting on offense with it.
As Sydney Mitchell takes it, she'll kick it back out, and the pass is high from Nimsakant to Schneider. CUC turnover.
Pass almost took out our baseline camera there. A little scary moment for the athletic communications department here.
As Marchesani buries another one. The corner is where she's been hot from today, as she is now the leading scorer for the Hawks, the second leading scorer, only trailing Nimsakant of CUC. As McGregor goes up there, she'll be fouled, and she'll have 2 more shots and the opportunity for her to be the tied leading scorer as well. She's got 11 now, 2 free throws. She is a perfect 5 for 5 in the contest from the stripe as well. As McCannell will exit, and for her was Ava Nascimento. As McGregor stays perfect.
Marchesani, someone that the Cougars are going to have to keep their eye on. If they're going to continue to stay in this game, being able to limit those open looks for Marchesani, because she's proven it. She can hit that shot. If you leave her open, she's going to take it. So Cougars really going to have to focus in on making sure that she doesn't find that space, especially as we see right now. It's a 1-point game. This is going to come down to the wire in the final minute. It's going to come down to who can stop those last shots. So being able to kind of shut her down is going to be a huge factor.
And for those interested in the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference out-of-town scoreboard, it was North Central knocking off Benedictine Eagles of the NAC 76-63 this evening.
Really, really good defense there from the Cougars. You had Wiggum and McGregor and Nimsakant all collapsing in, and they almost pulled the steal away there. Got the ball in, chewed some time off of the shot clock. So the Hawks only have 5 seconds to get it across the half court here, and the Cougars still pressuring. Kira Holiday coming over to kind of block that in, and the Hawks are going to be able to do it in just the nick of time, but a really good defensive burst there from the Cougars.
As the Hawks will have the opportunity to set up their offensive possession now, but only 10 seconds on the shot clock, as they're going to have to go to work here quickly. That's Blevins. She'll take on Nimsakant one-on-one. Blevins will go up off the rim, and McGregor rebounds, kicks it out to Mitchell. And Mitchell will direct traffic. A good pass there to Wiggum under the rim, as Wiggum will go up and bounces off the rim twice, can't get it to fall.
That's a really good connection there from your guards. Sydney Mitchell was able to see that kind of open lane coming, and she was able to kind of feed that pass right where it needed to be. Now happy that she got that offensive foul drawn. Being a force, kind of being everywhere, Sydney Mitchell is. She's been able to kind of draw some fouls in and forcing yet another turnover here against the Hawks.
And the Hawks bench getting a little bit frustrated there, as is Coach Polly Thomason. As Mitchell's got it, she'll hand it to the other Sydney, as the freshman will go to the rim. As McGregor goes up strong and gets the and one. So McGregor having her best game of the season. She was a player that we highlighted against U Chicago that needed to have a great game, and she played well in terms of rebounding that game. McGregor's 4th in the conference in rebounds per game, just wasn't showing up in the score column. And here tonight, McGregor now the leading scorer in the contest. She's got 15 after she misses her first free throw of the night. She is now 7 for 8 from the free throw line. As in goes Marchesani. She'll be fouled on her way up. Cougars were asking for a walk. So now Marchesani will take 2 shots. She was 1 for 2 from the line coming into tonight's game. And she's 1 for 1 tonight, which makes her 2 of 3 on the season. Her first go at it is good. So we are tied at 45 now with 5.5 to go. And CUC's last game, as we mentioned, went into overtime last Friday against the University of Chicago. As off the back iron there was Marchesani's second attempt, so that'll keep this game tied. Sydney Mitchell, the shot fake, driving in, she spins off the glass, no good. Tipped away, grabbed by Riemann. Riemann will spin, corral it over to Williams, and Williams will bring it across half court.
Here in this fourth quarter, we haven't seen either team really go on a run. We've seen a lot of back and forth. We've seen exchanging of points. We've seen turnovers, but we haven't really seen either team spark the way that we have in every other quarter. So far this game, it's been a game of runs. You know, the Cougars have gone on runs, and then the Hawks have gone on runs, and that's really where we've seen these big deficits. Here in this fourth quarter, it's been pretty fair matchup, and we haven't seen anybody really kind of spark up yet.
As Riemann's shot goes long, McGregor gets it, turns and dishes it out to Kira Holiday. So for the Cougars, it's Nimsicott, Holiday, Wiggum, McGregor, and Mitchell. As another foul there on Hartford. This one's going to go against Nascimento. So Nimsicott will have 2 more opportunities from the line. That is Nascimento's 3rd personal foul, the Hawks' 5th of this fourth quarter, and that could be something to keep an eye on down the stretch here. So you see closer and closer to the bonus as Marchesani and Nascimento will check out. In for CUC is Schneider, and for Mitchell.
Cougars still taking on this full court press, looking to trap here in the half court. Kira Holiday staying with Williams here, but unable to kind of cut that sideline drive off, and ultimately commits the foul here in the process. But you see the Cougars staying aggressive on their full court press here.
Just trying to provide a spark for their offense. Really has had a lot of success from the free throw line here tonight. As now Riemann's got it up top. She'll dish it to Hohulin. McCannell guarded by Schneider. Williams with 4 to go. She'll have to go up. McCannell is blocked. And couldn't tell who quite blocked it. It was Schneider that corralled it after the block.
I want to say it was Wiggum. I think she kind of got a piece of that ball from behind. I'm not even sure that McCannell saw her coming, but not surprising. Wiggum actually leading the Cougars team in blocks so far this season with 2 on the season. So, a really, really crafty way to kind of make her mark here.
5 seconds on the shot clock for the Cougars. Wiggum will have to do something with it. She'll throw it up, but it's going to be a shot clock violation. It was Sabia that got 2 hands on it. It's kind of a stagnant possession for CUC. The ball didn't leave the right half of the court until about 7 seconds when it was given to Wiggum, who brought it right back to this near side of the court as well. As that pass is picked off by Schneider, Holiday's got it. Mitchell up top. Back down to Schneider, guarded by Riemann. Kicked out to Holiday. She'll give a jab and dish it back. But that one is going to be tapped away. And a turnover there as a loose ball is McCannell. To Hohulin as she's going to go strong to the basket. Stopped by nobody as CUC just gave Hohulin a free lane to the rim. And they'll just have to reach in to try and stop the attempt. But with 3 minutes to go, the Hawks are going to have the opportunity to take the lead from the line.
I think that was a little bit of a chaotic possession there. Obviously, the Hawks initially had it picked off, then lost a little bit of possession there, able to get across half court just in time. And I just don't think the Cougars were fully prepared for the fast pace that they were looking to push after kind of being frazzled in the backcourt a little bit.
O'Hulan goes 0 for 2 from the line, but McGregor and Schneider both go up for it and tap it away from one another. So off of CUC, and luckily for the Hawks, after the missed opportunity on the free throws, they get a second chance opportunity with possession. As that pass is going to be off of McCannell. Good pressure there on the back end by Sydney Mitchell.
Cougars doing a really good job of collapsing in on McCannell. I mean, in what world does Sydney Mitchell, sitting at 5'1", pick off a pass that's intended for Maddie McCannell, sitting at 6'1"? I mean, an entire foot difference, but being able to just collapse in from the backside is huge.
As Nimsicott buries that one, the Cougars extend their lead to 4. As they're on a 20-12 run here in the second half. As the jump ball is going to head in the Cougars' favor, as they're going to get rewarded for the solid defense they're playing right now. And that three, Kayla, I got to tell you, it almost feels like an early dagger.
You know, as we've learned here inside Geisman so far this season, you can never be too sure. So, you know, being confident in it, I like it. I support it. I think the Cougars have the momentum here, and very clearly with the defense that they're playing, they're showing that they've learned from their mistakes. They've learned from the overtime loss that they had last game against U Chicago, and they're doing everything they can to make up for that. They've got their foot on the gas right now, and you know what, Troy? I might have to agree with you. I think it might be an early dagger, but if the Cougars continue to play this style of fast-paced, intense game.
Not to remind Cougars fans who are already aware, but for the Hartford fans who were not tuning into the contest last Friday, the Cougars led by 6 with 30 seconds to go, but kind of fumbled that one away at the end and then ended up losing in overtime to U Chicago. Nimsicott is fouled again as she goes to the rim, so she's going to get the free throw opportunities again. She's going to take her 12th and 13th free throws of the night, which is really an incredible number. It's the Cougars now with 24 total free throw attempts, 21 makes. So 21 of their 51 coming from the line. And for Hartford, they've made 7 free throws, 7 of 13. So only 7 of their 45 coming from the line as the Cougars have a 6-point lead.
I mean, that right there for both teams, that's exactly what you want to be seeing in an intense game like this. People getting on the ground, getting after a ball, fighting for possession. I mean, that's the grit that you want to be seeing as we enter these final 2 minutes of the game.
2:09 remaining in the game. The Hawks do keep possession there, but they're going to have to start moving offensively. They've not been a very fast-paced offense, and one of their leading scorers is on the bench in O'Hare. Marchesani is in the top corner. Cougars have to keep an eye on her because of all the players, she's the one that could breathe some life back into the Hawks as she'll get that one. That was McCannell right before the shot clock. So another good break there. And a good opportunity taken there by McCannell, able to that ball was tipping around with 2 seconds left, but able to put it in. As Riemann will get a credit for a block there. She'll kick it up to Marchesani, who's going to take it, tipped away by Holiday. As Mitchell's got it now.
So really, really great effort there from Mitchell to stay with it. Technically, that should be credited as a block, as the intent for the ball to go up was there. And then being able to kind of go with it. The Cougars able to get that timeout in before that turnover. Head coach of the Cougars, Lauren Martin, talking to this near side official right away as soon as that first steal happened to get that timeout in. And genuinely pretty lucky there. But, I mean, the Hawks taking advantage of their size in the paint. You know, so far today, they've seen 22 points in the paint. That's 47% of their overall score here today. So being able to penetrate in and get the points within the paint, that's something that they've been consistently good at so far this season as well. For the Hawks, looking back to their last game against Clark, they scored 24 points in the paint. And so they're really trying to utilize their size here as they've done in the past and kind of capitalize and take advantage. And with a minute to go, that's where they're going to have to start seeing that come to life.
Yeah, a minute to go. The possessions from here on out are going to be limited, so the Hawks are going to have to decide if they're going to go for quick twos or if they're going to elect to fire some threes. And the three ball was something, you know, we've been talking about throughout the duration of tonight's contest. They came into tonight shooting only 17% from deep. Here tonight, they're 37.5%, so a respectable number from deep, in large part due to Ella Marchesani, who's 3 for 4. And 13 points on the night, of course, leads the Hawks. So we'll see what the offensive approach is here for the Hawks, but it's not going to matter if they can't get stops down on this end. And, of course, the free throws are going to be critical here in the last minute, as they've really been all night.
Mm-hmm. So Cougars have 26 on the shot clock. The Hawks didn't gain full possession on that little back and forth there, so it ate some time off of the clock. But with that, I mean, that's a good chunk of the game clock here, and the Hawks don't have a foul to give. So looks like they're going to go for the option of playing straight-up clean defense here in an attempt to get a stop and then get things going for themselves.
This is really the last possession that you can play clean defense. Otherwise, the clock is going to expire, as that one is blocked by McCannell. So Riemann will bring it up, and they're going to have to go quickly. Whatever they decide is going to have to be quick, as Marchesani has it now. She's going to use McCannell's screen. She'll roll, but it'll kick out to O'Hara. O'Hara will fire long. Sabia's got it. It's going to go loose. Marchesani will pick it up, and she'll try, and she'll get it. Hawks down 4. A quick timeout there by Coach Polly Thomason. Hawks down 4 now with 27.1 seconds remaining. Now, not the worst case scenario for really either team, because the Cougars are able to run off about 41 seconds off the clock, and still have a 2-possession lead, Kayla.
Yep. But
Hartford able to get a basket in their first offensive possession, which if they wanted to stay in the game, they really had to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And now they're in a position where, so we've got 27.1 seconds on the clock. The Hawks are down. Cougars have possession. What do you do here, Troy? If you're the Hawks, are you forcing a foul right away?
Yeah, you don't have enough time to let the Cougars run this all the way down. I mean, if they run down and the game's over, their shot clock's off now. So, yeah, you foul. Ideally, you're looking to foul, with Wiggum, Nimsicott, Schneider, Holiday, and McGregor on the court. Wiggum, Schneider, and Holiday haven't attempted any free throws. Nimsicott's 11 of 13, which is solid, and McGregor's 7 of 8, which is solid as well. So if the ball goes to anybody other than Sydney Nimsicott or Allie McGregor, the Hawks have to be on it and foul right away. They're going to extend the full court pressure. Typically what you're going to see is they're going to play defense and go for the steal until the ball is possessed. Once the ball is possessed by CUC, actually we're going to get a substitution. So and another timeout. So Sydney Mitchell is going to check in, which is wise by Coach Lauren Martin to get a better free throw shooter in. I don't know who she checked in for exactly yet.
Either way, this additional timeout from Coach Lauren, as we can see from our perspective here, giving her time to draw up a play here, but it's also looking like the Cougars are going to be able to advance the ball, which is going to be huge, so that if they do have the opportunity to get things moving, then it's in the half court instead of in the full court.
So you mentioned it now. The Cougars will inbound from their bench. And Nipsicott will get it. Oh, and it's stolen by Williams. Exactly what the Hawks needed. She's going to go strong in the left hand, and she's got it. The Hawks are going to play defense. They're not going to call timeout. The pass is long. Schneider's got it. You got to foul Schneider. Yo, goodness. A breakdown from the Hawks defense, and Ali McGregor is able to put that one in. As now Marchesani's going to go strong. She'll kick it out to O'Hare. 10 seconds to go. O'Hare's long. Got to go up with it. Marchesani's going to fire now. It's going to be wide left. And that's going to conclude things here almost.
Not quite, Troy. Not quite. The Cougars, I think, they got happy with that fast break layup there from McGregor. Schneider had a great pass in, but the game isn't over there. The Hawks took advantage of the fact that the Cougars weren't set to get back on defense, and they went chasing, and they went down, and they were able to move things quickly. I mean, Schneider was still sitting in the backcourt here, so she wasn't prepared to have to come down and play defense. She wasn't prepared for the Hawks to be able to fight back, and ultimately now the Hawks had no choice but to foul, and like one of the two people that you mentioned, Ali McGregor's not the person that you want at the line as she sinks yet another free throw and slowly puts this one away.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Coach Thomason didn't go for a timeout there when the Hawks cut down the lead again, as she calls it there with right around 3 seconds to go.
Looking to advance the ball there. So, I mean, in this situation, 2.9 seconds on the clock. The Hawks have the opportunity for a quick catch and shoot. If you're the Cougars here, the number one thing that you are trying to do is not foul. The last thing that you want to do is foul and extend this. If you can let them get that ball in and force an off-balance shot, that's fantastic, but you're looking to play clean defense here as well.
So 2.9 seconds left on the clock. Cougars lead by 5 here at home. This, if they can hold on, would be their first victory of the season. It'll take them to 1-4. The Hawks would fall to 0-4, 1-3 rather for CUC. The Hawks will fall to 0-4. Now, you mentioned it. The Cougars just can't foul. At this point, you play an off defense, letting the Hawks fire a long-range 3. Because once that happens, that's going to take a couple seconds off. You may have less than a second for a steal and a tap, and they don't have any timeouts left, so they can't really stop the clock again, as they're going to have to go up right now. And it's not going to matter as McCannell's shot goes long, and Mitchell grabs the rebound, and for CUC, their first victory of the season, 56-51 over the visiting Hartford Hawks. And let's recap a little bit of what we saw here tonight. Kayla, a good victory for this CUC squad. They really needed it. Really didn't want to fall to 0-4. They thought they had the opportunity to beat UChicago last week. Let that one slip away. But tonight, I think that experience against UChicago really paid off into the late game scenarios, and the Cougars were able to execute at a much higher level here in the fourth quarter and in the second half, right? The Cougars were down by 7 at halftime. They won this second half scoring battle 30-19, and that's ultimately, kind of what led to the 5-point victory after being down 7 at half.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned it. You learn from your mistakes, and this early in the season with a younger squad that the CUC team has, being able to learn from what happened in the UChicago game, that the last 3 minutes of this game is a vastly different pace than we saw in the Cougars' last game, and that's ultimately what led to this victory. That grit to be able to pull off this win is what led to that. And that might have been lacking a little bit in the game against UChicago, but they took it and they rolled with it, and that shows really good growth and promise for this young Cougar squad. And at the end of the day, Troy, one team was walking out of here with their first win, and this Hartford team was just as capable of walking away with this win as this Cougar squad was. It was a back-and-forth game. It was tied. It was close. It was grit. And this Hartford team they turn around and they play again tomorrow. And I think this one is going to sting a little bit for them because it was in their hands and it was a really hard-fought game. But I think that's just going to turn around and it's going to make them compete tomorrow against Illinois Tech that much of a bigger battle.
Let's quickly go through the leaders of tonight in the stats. Sydney Nimsicott led all scorers with 19 points. Right behind her was Allie McGregor with 18. For the Hawks, it was Ella Marchesani, 15 points, and McCannell with 10, followed by O'Hare with 9. Folks, that'll do it here for us up here in the booth, but stay tight. We got a post-game interview coming up with CUC head basketball coach, Coach Lauren Martin. So signing off from upstairs here, Kayla McLeod joined here with me, Troy Prattley on the Cougar Sports Network. Don't go anywhere. Roll Cougs. Welcome back on the Cougar Sports Network. Troy Prattley here, joined post-game with CUC head women's basketball coach, Coach Lauren Martin. Your team victorious here tonight, 56-51. Your first victory in the season. Congratulations. Got to feel good.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of our girls. They laid it all out there and collectively kind of showed a lot of grit, a lot of heart, and I'm super proud of the team.
That was a much better defensive effort in the second half, but even overall than we saw just a few days ago. You played a great UC Chicago team, very tough. But here tonight, a fantastic defensive effort led to almost 30 points off turnovers.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't had stats yet, but I'm glad that you've got that off the top of your head. You know what? We made the decision to kind of switch our pressure in the second half and help that kind of lead to the identity of the game. And to hold the team to 51 points is always right where we want to be. And so, you know, the defense led, and defense wins games, right?
Defensive aggressiveness led to the offensive aggressiveness as well. I don't know if you know this either, but you took 30 free throws here tonight. 21 of your points came off of free throws, which is a pretty high number as well, but that means you were paying off from the line.
Yeah, and in our first 3 games, it was a focal point to get to the line, and we didn't execute in that. In every game, it's gone up a little bit. So I did not know it was 30. That's 10 more than typically what our goal is, but that means we hit 1 more than what our goal would have been. So, you know, I think going to the line today was it just looked good, it felt good, and there's a lot of confidence there, and I'm proud of everybody who I mean, the whole team. I don't know. Keep it at that.
Happy with the performance of your senior, Allie McGregor, tonight. She came into this game leading the conference, almost in the conference, 4th in the conference in rebounds per game, but hasn't necessarily led to points, right, in the point column. Tonight it did. She was second on your team behind Sydney Nimscott at 19. Allie McGregor had 18 points, and 7 of those from the stripe. She played great tonight.
Yeah, you know, in scouting them, we knew we could get the ball inside. And then at halftime, it was a challenge. Hey, anytime you're getting the ball in the side and you decide to go at it, good things are happening. And when we were getting downhill, they were calling fouls. So the adjustments we made at half, and the team going ahead and focusing all the way through till their Thanksgiving break, that's what it was just kind of having these increments of what we're focusing in now and then applying it to the game. And we always talk about how one thing, either from practice to the game to half, whatever, has to transfer to the next. So you saw a lot of that transferring today to get us the win.
And one more thing before we let you go, something that Kayla and I talked about in the booth. I said, I have to believe that the end of the game situation at UC Chicago helped your team in the end of game situation today. Kind of similar situations, calling timeouts on both ends, but this time your team able to pull away.
Yeah, and in the end of the last game, I mean, everything we talked about in those timeouts with what the game was doing, we were audibly prepared for, and then the execution wasn't quite there. So now going ahead, round 2 at it, speaking what we're speaking to and what we wanted to execute and develop in that time. It wasn't perfect, but having the experience from before and knowing that, hey, you can play through that and pull this off, now gives us a little bit more experience heading into a conference game in you know, a mere 10 days or so.
Coach, go celebrate with your team. Congratulations.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate it.
Roll Cougs.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Concordia University Chicago Cougars Athletics broadcast. We hope to see you on campus very soon. If you would like to learn more about what Concordia Chicago has to offer, go to cuchicago.edu.